Good morning, YouTube. It's Xavier, aka Hey Zay, and today I wanted to bring something to you all that I was pondering on about last night just a little bit, and that's why it's so important to be ourselves, why it's so important to be authentic, and why it's, not just not because just because it feels good to be yourself, to be real, to be authentic, and to follow your inner voice and your inner passions, but also because of how that plays a role globally and how interconnected we are, and why it is so important as individuals to focus on our personal growth so that we can grow as a community. And the way I thought of this was in a little bit of a metaphor. So if you could please follow me. So we come right to it. So I have here my whiteboard so I can draw a short little illustration so you can better understand me, why I think it's so important for us to fulfill ourselves as individuals. As the more you start to own everything that is you, the better you start to manifest your purpose. You start to fulfill your purpose because you've become in tune with your center. So what I want to do to make an example excuse me, to make an example why I say it's important to be an individual so that you may act as a part of the whole, the greater community that we are, that we live in. What I want to use as an example is a blade of grass. This is the blade of grass we're going to focus on right here. You see this? This is a blade of grass right here. Now you see there are other pieces of grass, there's other blades of grass, there's some blades of grass bigger than it, way bigger than those even, and then there's some that are so small you barely see them. But this is the one we're going to focus on right now, because you are this blade of grass. I am this blade of grass. Your mother, your father, your neighbor, your lover, your ex, whomever is this blade of grass. Now, why I say it's so important for this blade of grass to be itself and to focus on itself rather than trying to draw its own consciousness from that of others, constantly putting itself in other places and, constantly saying, man, I look like this, but dang, look at this one. Look at this blade of grass. This one is so much larger, so much more magnificent. It's better than me. When you make that comparison, when you make comparisons like that, I believe it was Krishnamurti. I don't know how to say his name, so I apologize, but when you're always comparing yourself to other people, you're canceling yourself out essentially. You're completely negating who you are, but the truth is you don't know their journey, you don't know what it is they have to do in order to sustain who and what they are. So everyone's experience is different, and so it would benefit you more to focus on your own. So let me get back to this demonstration. Being this leaf, this blade of grass, if you want to be the greatest blade of grass that you can't be a great blade of grass by being Billy. You can't be a great blade of grass by being Ashley. You can't be the greatest you can't be the greatest leaf right here by trying to be this one. You're not going to be great trying to be this one. It's okay to look around you and to observe, because that's how you learn. You pick up habits and things. You pick up what you need that's necessary, but you cannot completely wipe yourself out and say, I wish I was something else. I wish I was another blade of grass. And so what this blade of grass needs to do, I'm not going to say ignore them, but cancel them out. Realize that you are important as your own single self, as your own little presence, your own little world, your own little life. You are important. You are very important, because if you go out into your backyard and you look at all those little pieces of grass, it takes each individual blade of grass to make up your yard. But if you have, let's just say you have, this blade of grass doesn't believe in itself. It doesn't believe in itself. It's going to die, because as it rejects what it is, as it refuses to acknowledge itself and to be whole in itself, it's going to block off nourishment. It's going to block off. It's going to be so busy trying to place itself in the next blade of grass position, it's not going to be able to go through the processes naturally if it's trying to constantly make itself up of other things, of other people, of other beings, you know, being the best blade of grass that it can be, you know, regardless if it matches up to this one or this one or this one or this one. If every blade of grass in your yard did that, your yard would be brown. It wouldn't even be any grass anymore after a while, because they've stopped nourishing themselves and learning and knowing themselves. And you nourish yourself from knowing yourself, and by knowing yourself, you nourish yourself. So if you hung with me, you understood what the blade of grass analogy meant, is that this single blade of grass is you. Be the best you that you can be, and you will start to shine like those other blades of grass that you wanted. But you know what would be even more magnificent about the fact that you are shining like the other blades of grasses that you looked up to, is that it's you. It is completely and totally you, yourself, being authentic. It is you finally taking your place. You know, you're looking around. When you take your place, you don't have to look around so much, and instead you can be a part of that community. You can be a part of that blade society that grows green and tall and strong and looks magnificent. You know, you can be a part of that so tall, you know, beautiful blades of green, you know, blades of grass, if you accept your roots, if you accept that this is where you are, this is your position, and you're going to take nutrients from the ground. You're going to take the nutrients that you have, that are being offered to you, that are being put into the position that you are in, because it's yours. And the more you do that, the more you invest in yourself, the more you allow yourself to live and express yourself authentically and honestly, the more you own who you are, your light and your dark, your good and your bad, the things you agree with and the things you don't, the things you understand and the things you don't. The more you do that, the more you will understand. The more you will have balance in your life. The more you will get to the place that you ultimately desire to be. But it takes being yourself, being an individual. So I hope you understood what I was saying about being the best blade of grass that you could be, and how that correlates with you being the best individual that you can be. In my previous video, one of my previous videos, the video titled 4 years later, why transition FTM, and I made the statement, I might as well suffer growing into the right direction. And someone commented, suffering in the right direction, does that sound right? And there was a lot I could have said in response, but, you know, typing it, I felt like my point wouldn't have gotten across as well as I can articulate it right now. I made the statement, suffer in the right direction, because you can't live life without some form of suffering. You're not going to grow without hurting, because even as a child, when you grow, you have growing pains. When you build muscle, it hurts, you know. So is you can either take a beating from life, you can take everything life is giving you, and you can lay down and take it. You can lay down and allow it to push you in whatever direction it's going to push you. Or you can assert yourself as well and say, you know what, I'm going to hurt in this way. I'm going to hurt in that way. You know, it sounds funny, but what I'm saying is I'm going to take myself down this path so that I may experience these experiences and this type of growth, so that I can have that growth. You know, you it's good to want to grow, but you also have to accept that as you go down certain paths, you know, certain career choices, certain life choices, certain decisions with friends and families, that there's going to be things that you didn't necessarily sign up for. There's going to be things that you don't like, that you don't want, but you have to take that. They say take you know, you have to take the bad with the good, take the good with the bad. You know, there's always another side to everything. So what I meant by suffering in the right direction is just that, to be authentic in my, you know, my suffering and my living, to be authentic, you know, in my highs and in my lows. To be authentic, that if I'm going to be living and growing and hurting as a result of growing, I would rather be growing for, you know, hurting for the right reasons, by experiencing the right kind of growth. I would rather live my life being cursed out for being myself than to be loved or even cursed out for being someone I'm not. You feel me? And that's why I say this. It is important to be an individual. It's important to be yourself. It's important to follow that voice within you, to follow that divine guidance, to get to where it is that your soul wants to be, to where your heart wants to be, and where you truly feel within you are supposed to be. You know, or even if you get there and realize you don't want to, at least you came to that understanding. You know, and that statement kind of ties back into why I made the video "Confusion is good for you," because you get to a point where you think, "Damn, did I really want this?" So I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope this came across well and that it was understood. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. I will talk to you all later. Peace.